Let me guess something about you. At some point today, you used Wi-Fi. You might be using it right now, watching this video. So, here is my question. Do you have any idea where that technology actually comes from? Because the trail leads somewhere wildly unexpected. It leads to a Hollywood movie star from the 1940s. A woman her own studio sold as the most beautiful woman in the world. And I will warn you now, the ending of her story stings. By the time the world finally said thank you, she had almost run out of time to hear it. Her name was Hedy Lamarr, but she was not born with that name, and she was not born anywhere near Hollywood. She was born in Vienna, the daughter of a banker and a concert pianist. And from the very beginning, this kid was wired differently. As a little girl, she took apart her music box, not to break it, just to figure out how the thing worked. Remember that detail. It is the whole story in miniature. As a teenager, she starred in a European film considered scandalous for its time. Overnight, she was famous across the continent, and that fame attracted a dangerous kind of attention. She married one of the richest men in Austria, Fritz Mandl, a weapons manufacturer who did business with fascist regimes. By her own account, that marriage was a gilded cage. Mandl kept her practically confined to his castle. Her job was to sit at his dinner parties and look stunning. But here is the thing about dinner parties full of generals and weapons engineers. People talk. They talked about torpedoes. They talked about radio signals and how easily an enemy could jam them. And sitting right there, being treated like a decoration, was a woman absorbing every single word. Eventually, she had enough. She fled the marriage, fled Austria, and made her way to London. There she met the boss of one of Hollywood's biggest studios. He signed her, brought her to America, and gave her a brand new name, Hedy Lamarr. The studio publicity machine crowned her the most beautiful woman in the world, and audiences ate it up. She became one of the biggest stars of Hollywood's golden age. Her movies broke box office records. Her face was everywhere. But nobody thought to ask one simple question. What if the most admired face in America came with one of the sharpest minds of her generation? Because off camera, Hedy had a hobby. She invented things. She sketched an improved traffic light. She designed a tablet that dissolved in water to make a flavored fizzy drink. At one point, the aviation tycoon, Howard Hughes, gave her access to his own team of scientists. She thought his planes were too slow, so she bought books about the fastest fish and the fastest birds. Then she blended their shapes into a brand new wing design. Hughes looked at her sketch and told her she was a genius. He was not wrong. Then the Second World War broke out, and Hedy wanted to fight back. Not by smiling on posters, for real. She knew about a brutal problem facing the Allies. Torpedoes could be guided by radio, but a radio signal is easy to find and easy to jam. The enemy just blasts noise on your frequency, and your torpedo swims off course. So, Hedy asked a question that was decades ahead of its time. What if the signal refused to sit still? What if it kept hopping from one frequency to another, following a secret pattern? You cannot jam a signal you cannot find. It is like trying to tap a phone call that switches lines every few seconds. But there was one problem. The transmitter and the receiver have to hop in perfect sync. And with 1940s technology, that was a nightmare. Enter the strangest engineering partner imaginable, George Antheil, an avant-garde composer. His claim to fame was a piece of music that synchronized a whole room full of self-playing pianos. You can probably see where this is going. Player pianos run on rolls of punch paper. Two identical rolls, spinning together, stay perfectly in sync. So, Hedy and George designed a system where matching piano rolls told the radio where to jump. The signal could hop across 88 different frequencies. Yes, 88. The exact number of keys on a piano. A weapon of war built on the guts of a player piano. Quick honesty break. There is an old rumor that Hedy simply stole this idea from her ex-husband's meetings. Historians have dug into that claim. Nobody ever found proof, and there is no evidence the Germans even had this technology. As far as anyone can actually show, the idea was hers. In 1942, the United States government granted them a patent. They called it the Secret Communication System, A movie star and a composer had just patented the seed of modern wireless communication. So, the Navy grabbed it and won the war with it, right? Wrong. The Navy said no. And why they said no depends on who you ask. One version says the piano roll mechanism was too bulky to cram inside a torpedo. The other version is uglier, that the Navy did not trust a foreign-born actress, stamped the design as secret, and buried it. Either way, the message she got was the same. If you really want to help the war effort, sweetheart, use that famous face. Go sell war bonds. And you know what? She did. In one single campaign, she helped raise about $25 million. Let that sink in. The Navy rejected her brain, so she bankrolled the war with her face instead. Meanwhile, the patent sat in a drawer. Back then, patents lasted 17 years. Hers expired without earning her or George one single dollar. The idea became legally free for anyone to use. And, oh, people used it. In the late 1950s, engineers built a frequency-hopping system to talk to submarines. The transistor had finally made the idea practical. And get this, their system hopped across the exact same number of frequencies, 88. Different engineers, a whole generation later, reinventing what a movie star had already patented. There is one more cruel little coincidence. The patent expired the very same year George Antheil died. He never saw a cent, and he never saw what his piano rolls would become. From there, the concept, called spread spectrum, quietly spread everywhere. Military systems first, then, decades later, the civilian technology you use every single day. Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, even GPS. Now, let's be fair. Hedy did not build your router. Thousands of engineers spent decades creating those standards. But the founding trick underneath them is a signal that hops to stay safe. And that is the trick she patented in the middle of the war. Here is the part that really gets me. For most of that time, almost nobody knew. Hedy got older. The movie roles dried up. She ended up living quietly in Florida, out of the spotlight, while her idea silently conquered the planet. Then, in 1997, somebody finally did the math. The Electronic Frontier Foundation, a big digital rights organization, gave Hedy and George a Pioneer Award. Official recognition, at last, for the invention the Navy had shrugged off. Hedy was in her 80s by then, and when she heard the news, her reaction was 3 perfect words. It's about time. She passed away just a few years later. More than a decade after her death, the National Inventors Hall of Fame finally inducted her. Today there is an asteroid named after her. There is even a GPS satellite carrying her name through space. Think about that. The Navy would not trust her with a torpedo. Now, her name literally orbits the Earth on the system her idea helped make possible. So, here is what I keep thinking about. The world gave Hedy Lamarr one label, and it stuck for half a century. The most beautiful woman in the world. It sounded like the ultimate compliment. And it worked like a cage. Because nobody goes looking for a brilliant mind behind a face they already decided was just a face. So, tonight, when your phone connects without a single cable, think of the movie star at that dinner table, the one everybody mistook for a decoration. She was taking notes. If this story surprised you, tell me in the comments. And drop the name of another person history refused to take seriously. Their story might be the next one I tell.